There is panic and the fear of the unknown in Waza, Far North region of Cameroon after a suicide bomb attack killed at least 15 people and left 43 others seriously injured. The governor of the Far North region has called on the population to remain vigilant. He has equally banned all public gatherings. 7 billion people live on this planet. July 11 this week was observed as World Population Day under the theme Family Planning, Empowering Our People, Developing Our Nations. The National Episcopal Conference this week released a statement declaring that they have not yet received the cup of their late colleague Bishop Bala. The program is News Roundup of the Week. Still this. I'm called Ndih Maureen, and as usual, I'm delighted to be with you. Before we get into having in-depth analysis on major news events of the week, I want to introduce my guest. He is Francis Elie. He is an educationist and he is the owner of Tesol Institute in Douala, Cameroon. Now, I have an event that's been happening this week, and you want to educate women. You're talking about business plan.
Business skills, how to develop the right business skills to be successful. Because today business environment is very competitive, and unless you have the right skills, you may not make it. So a lot of people, youth and women, are struggling to run businesses, but time and again they haven't got the right skills, they haven't got the right mindset. And so our job over the next couple of months will be to travel around. We are currently in Douala, planning to move to Limbe and then Bamenda to see how we can raise awareness about the importance of having the right business skills and the right mindset. Because otherwise you get into business and then you quickly saturate because you haven't got those skills that take you to the next level and to really make it.
Now, you're not only targeting women?
Yes, youth as well, because there's been a cry from the youth on they've been crying on the lack of skills, the lack of training opportunities, the lack of networking opportunities. So our event is at the same time training, networking opportunity so that people can actually get to know each other, create partnerships, and see how they can grow together.
Now, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Buea was installed this week by the Minister of Higher Education, an installation that was marked by massive strike of students in the University of Buea, denouncing what we call fake certificates.
Yes.
Now, how did you take that news?
It's a shame. It's a shame for our educational system as a whole, and because the University of Buea has been considered as one of the best in Cameroon over the last 5 or 10 years or so. So having such a problem there is going to tarnish the image and it's going to bring down the reputation. So I think we have to do the best for this kind of practice to be banned from the university.
Now, was that the proper way to do it?
Well, when people start denouncing something over some time and nothing happens, it may escalate, and that's what has happened with the University of Buea. Yeah.
Can we say it was a genuine strike action by the students? It means the students had to strike, means they are no more comfortable with it.
They're no more comfortable, and then maybe they've denounced the phenomenon for some time and nothing was done, so they thought that the right approach was to go public through a strike.
Now, what are they trying to highlight here? Corruption?
Trying to highlight corruption, trying to highlight the drop of standards of UB. UB was for a long time the best, but today it's like UB is becoming like most of local universities, which is.
Now, can we talk of falling standards here, or particular people being corrupt here?
Well, when some people are being corrupt within the system, it ends up affecting the whole system, and the credibility of the institution is at stake. So you need to address the matter from the bottom. And students, obviously, we've read in newspapers, we've listened to them speaking, testimonies, and they're very clear, and they have facts, they have proof of what they're saying. So it's not just a rumor, it's a fact.
Now it comes at a time when the university, let's say the University of Boya's image is being dragged into mud following allegations that the mother Anglophone University offered admission to the mayor of Boya, Ekema Patrick, who did not fulfill the necessary conditions for the award of the degree. Now, what's your take on that?
Well, I think proper investigations should be carried out because it's hard to understand.
It went viral on the social media.
Yeah, it's hard to understand that in a country like ours, with a serious institution like the University of Boya, for somebody to be awarded a certificate or a diploma without him having fulfilled all the requirements, and which means how many people have gone through that very system, and so it's very disturbing. It's been published in the social media. It's been published in newspapers. I think we need to know the truth, the bottom truth of this matter.
Yeah, that's a person who is an official. He's heading. Yes.
Yeah.
He's the mayor of the university.
That's why it's very disturbing because he's supposed to be a role model. But if as a role model,
that's somebody who's supposed to be a role model.
A role model, yes. But if he has indulged in such practices and well, we need to wait for investigation. And if it's true, then it's really going to be a shame for the Council of Boya, for the town of Boya, for the University of Boya, and for the whole country.
Now, but he's not the only person who fakes certificates in the public service. Let's take the public service.
This should be part of a whole system. So maybe we're just getting to know the roots of a bigger problem, because for some years now we've had these issues of certificates in our administration, in some big companies around. So what's really happening?
And nothing is being done about it.
So what's been happening? How is the matter being addressed? We need to know.
Now, how can the matter be addressed?
Well, we simply have to go back to the basics. When somebody registers with the university, he's got his name, he's got his registration number, and if he writes an exam, we need to see his
Now, is it that those who recruit these people don't take their time to investigate on the person before meeting the person? Or what's happening?
There were loopholes along the process, and some of these people who are ill-mannered are simply taking advantage of those loopholes. But those loopholes can obviously be breached or closed.
Right.
Yes.
The people of Waza in the far north region of Cameroon are mourning the death of loved ones killed by suicide bomb attack. The tragic incident comes a week after two funds from the Momo Division Northwest region of Cameroon died in a car accident on the Yaoundé-Bamenda stretch of road. Now, let's watch this report. We'll be right back. 15 people are reported dead, while 43 others are seriously injured following a suicide bomb attack on Wednesday night. Witnesses say the attack occurred at 9 p.m. at Waza in the Logon and Shari Division, far north region of Cameroon. Among the victims are children. It is the first time Waza has registered this high number of casualties caused by terror group Boko Haram, who seem to have changed their strategy. Little Mana and his friend are mourning the death of their parents in the suicide bomb attack. Except it happens at 9 p.m. We both lost our parents in the suicide bomb attack. The long holiday is still on. The governor of the far north region, Minjiyawa Bakari, has called on the population to be more vigilant. He has equally banned any form of gatherings. Injured persons have been transported to different hospitals in Waza, Mora and Marwa. It is exactly 3 years since the government of Cameroon declared war against Boko Haram, a war that is far from coming to an end. She is still in shock and can't help but mourn the disappearance of His Royal Highness Fonjokem of Bengui. Though there is absolute calm, people move in and out of the Bengui Palace to get first-hand information. This vehicle belongs to the phone. Same with these traditional stools. Unfortunately, there is no phone to occupy them. The throne is vacant. The villagers shied away from our cameras, afraid it could be against tradition. They cried out of fawn disappearing through a motor accident is a rare occurrence in the northwest region and especially Momo division. Fawn Jokem of Bangui and Fawn Dr. Aka Mark of Kai both perished in a road accident along the Bamenda-Yaoundé highway Sunday morning. According to reports, both traditional rulers were traveling to Yaoundé to attend a ceremony organized by Meta Cultural and Development Association. In honor of one of theirs, Minister Mba Acharos, founder of the Supreme State Audit. The driver is presently in a critical state in hospital.
The degaussing process at Lignius is now about 90% gone. The information was given recently in Womb at the end of the mentioned divisional stakeholders meeting of the program to secure and rehabilitate Nyos village for survivors to return. A program drawn up by the Civil Protection Department.
We have houses to be constructed. We have a school. We have hospital, for example, etc., etc.
Survivors and their offsprings, who are today distributed in 7 camps in Boyo and Menchum divisions, have always expressed the need to go back to the land of their ancestors, home always being home.
I need to go to Nyos. Nyos is better than me to here. So that when I have 2 cattle there, my cattle will live well. So I am do my farming the best. So many people is there. All my family brother is there. When people is going there, I will go. I know that maybe when I will die, when my time is, I will die. Better to me to give my good life there before the die want to come.
Water is sometimes challenging us because at times our taps are disconnected by maybe the original place where we had the water. Cattle are penetrating there and the water is disconnected, and we are facing problems about water, and many people have gone to hospital and having a complaint of typhoid, which is gotten from dirty water.
The stakeholders, who comprise of representatives of survivors, technical services and municipal councils of the areas concerned. This stretch of road links the St. Augustine College Junction Bambikai to Kitiwum, 2 localities in Kumbo, with the vision. The road is a total nightmare for users, especially when it rains. Every movement becomes dangerous and fewer vehicles make use of the road, making it difficult for farmers to transport their produce. Accidents are frequent, like this one. The poor state of the road has been blamed on contractors who poorly execute their contracts.
Problem that the route is like when one drop for this also.
The government must be very watchful whenever they give out contracts, for contractors fail to do the jobs properly. For instance, gravel was not poured here from every indication.
I take that corner, come this way, so how this machine stands with them.
This truck on transit to Nigeria was carrying tomatoes from farms in Kifem. On reaching this bend, it was difficult for the driver to negotiate due to the slippery nature of the road. Though no life was lost, the truck's content was on the ground. Villagers had to voluntarily help the driver and others save the merchandise. It was once rated as Cameroon's third economic city after Douala and Yaoundé. Today, Kongsamba is on a decline. The reason for this, most people have said, is due to the drastic fall in the prices of coffee in early 2000.
You can consider Kongsamba was the third city in this nation, Cameroon. Why? Because we have the culture of coffee, and we have people like Gregor, Zunian, Zubelos, who are exporting coffee worldwide. But after some time, the price of coffee dropped, and this brought discouragement for farmers, and started cutting the coffee plant.
Faced with high level of unemployment, the youth of Kongsamba have embarked on massive exodus for greener pastures.
And today, many youth leave the town to go to Douala and Yaoundé like that. And you can see poverty in the town, poverty all over.
For the time I have been in Kongsamba, I can say as time goes on, there are no changes. The town is only regressing. The authorities do not do their job. Here am I on a motorcycle. I pay all my documents. It's not easy as a motorbike rider. When you go out, you cannot come back home with up to 2,000 francs. Concerned natives believe that Kongsamba youths can switch to other productive activities.
We hope that one day maybe people can start now planting cocoa, because worldwide we can see that the price of cocoa is high in the international market, because Tanel and Banga Mombo live because of the planting or the harvesting of cocoa.
The absence of companies also makes things difficult. There are no companies in Kongsamba. Nothing is functioning. That's why most of our children, when they grow up, they run away from the town. Our roads are destroyed. There is an ongoing sensitization to encourage Kongsamba youth to return home. It is hoped that the town of Kongsamba can return to its glorious days and contribute to Cameroon's economic growth. There are plans on the way to make Kribi the next Silicon Valley of Cameroon. An inter-ministerial delegation recently descended to Kribi to launch the Ocean Innovation Center, an institution that will be a hub for young startups. The delegation was comprised of Louis Paul Motaze, Minister of Economy, Planning and Regional Development, accompanied by his colleagues of Post and Telecommunication, Employment and Vocational Training, and Mines and Industries. It was a ceremony rich in song and dance. The government, through this event, is giving a strong signal on its involvement in promoting the private sector. You want to understand that one of the central strategies of Cameroon's economic plan, defined by President Paul Biya, is to promote a strong private sector. At the level of the Ministry of Economy, we give direct support like what we just did. In a hostile environment regarding the debt from the International Monetary Fund, Louis Paul Motaze has assured Cameroonians that the government will honor its engagement with the private sector, and growing the digital economy is essential. The private sector plays a very important role, and moreover, launching such a private initiative in the digital economy domain, which has been cited by the head of state, can actually boost economic growth. With the slogan "Conceive, Believe, Achieve," this technopole is a 4-story building erected on a surface area of 1,600 meters. In a bid to achieve the objectives of the center, the government has brought on board some of the best engineers, such as Cameroon-born Doriat Nongneng, a young Cameroonian of age 25 who is a graduate of the École Polytechnique de Paris, France. It is therefore expected that the youth of Kribi will benefit from this center, which will go a long way to boost Cameroon's digital economy.
Welcome back. Here with me in the studio is Francis Already. He is an educationist, and now we are talking about the death of 2 funds in a road accident.
Yeah, who found death while returning to the palaces. It's really a shame. What really happened? We're still to know. Was the problem with the road? Problem with the cars? We don't know yet.
I mean, it is very rare to see a phone die in a road accident.
Yes, yeah, it's very rare. And then we are Africans, and people have started talk about many things. But I think we need to investigate to find out what really happened. Was the car in a good state? Was the driver in a good state? What really happened? We need to find out.
Now, is it a bad signal? Is it a bad omen? Because people say when such a thing happens, it means something bad is coming.
Well, we as Africans, we tend to be very superstitious. We tend to interpret things, from a very superstitious point of view. But we should also wonder, wasn't it a technical problem with the car? Now, if it's a bad sign, that doesn't mean that we should expect something terrible to happen to this country or to that region. It's very complex, and but all I want people to understand is that it has happened, and we need to look for the causes. Was it the car?
So that we don't have a repeat of the scene.
Of the scene, yes. If it was a car, we need to know what went wrong. When a plane crashes, we always get to the bottom of the matter through investigation. So this time around, we should also investigate to know exactly what happened.
Now let's talk about suicide bomb attack in Waza Far North, a region of Cameroon, precisely in Logun and Shari division. Now, how did you receive the news of 15 people being killed in a suicide bomb attack, Boko Haram?
Massive shock because we thought for a while that they were under control, but apparently they simply gave us some time to rejoice and to come back. And now they seem to have come back in full force. They've changed the strategy. They used to strike during the day. Now they're striking at night. What does it mean for our forces? What do we need to do? We have to think.
It's the first time Waza is having such a heavy casualty.
Yes, but remember that Waza is a very strategic place for our tourism sector. And when you go to Waza, I've been there a couple of times. When you go to Waza, security measures are not really up to standards. So the enemy must have studied the environment, studied the terrain in such a way that they know if we do strike at this time, there will be nobody to drive us away. So the people, unfortunately, the civilians who died, because there were no soldier or no armed force people who died, could not have anticipated this. But maybe our forces of order could have anticipated. And so now we have an idea of the change in strategy. So we should be watching now day and night. That's the signal, that's the big signal that we should take into account.
Now, it's 3 years since Cameroon declared war against Boko Haram, but the war is far from ending.
It's far from ending. It's far from ending because we have not really identified, the enemy. They come as children. They come as women. They come in all shapes and sizes, and that's a problem.
Now, the governor has called on the population to remain vigilant. He has equally banned public gatherings. Can you think that can help the fight against Boko Haram?
Well, because the enemy has been taking advantage of public gatherings. So if we stop gatherings, maybe they have to think about another strategy. So I think the problem is, while we're taking these measures, we should also be strategizing on how to fight them in a sustainable way. Because all along, we've been responding. Maybe it's time for us to start anticipating, educating the population on what to do. I know a lot of work is being done in this area. I have friends who are in the forces, and they say they've been working very hard, raising awareness, and the population.
So the population need to collaborate.
It's very important. It is crucial. It is essential for the population to collaborate, because the more we start collaborating, because the forces can only map out a new strategy based on the feedback of the population. Yeah, so it's
because the forces of law and order cannot work alone. They need to work with forces of law and order so that they can intervene.
Yes.
At any time.
Yes.
Of the day.
Of the day, yes.
The presence of the Mambilas and the Fulanis from Nigeria in the northwest region of Cameroon has forced an interministerial delegation this week led by the Director of the Civil Protection and the Ministry of Territorial Administration and Decentralization to visit this part of the country. The population of Wa has expressed fears these refugees may be coming with health and other problems that need urgent attention. 7 million people live on this planet this week was observed as per population day under the theme family planning, empowering people, developing a nation. Let's watch this report. We'll be right back.
The presence of the Mambilas and the Fulanis from Nigeria in the northwest region of Cameroon has forced an interministerial delegation led by the Director of Civil Protection at the Ministry of Territorial Administration and Decentralization to visit this part of the country. They were in Mwa subdivision of the Ndonga Mantung. It is feared these displaced persons might be coming with health and other problems that need urgent attention.
The dangers that may come, first is cholera. Second, maybe some of them may be contaminated within measles and yellow fever. So the risk of spread here is high now.
So we have to sensitize the population on basic hygiene measures that they have to take to avoid such an outcome of cholera, because you find people defecating just in the open environment. We have tried to talk to them so that they can know, and then we have also mobilized like the quarterhead to see to it that they dig at least 2 pit toilets.
Officials of the High Commission for Refugees were in the delegation. Their goal to see how these displaced persons can get material, health, food, and other assistance. The Nigerians have thanked the Cameroonian government.
As he managed to migrate here, he thanked the people of Cameroon that they hold them with 2 hands. Yes, that is what he was saying. That is what he's saying.
Though all is being put in place to make their stay comfortable, the mayor of Mwa says he is skeptical about their presence.
Which makes me suspicious of whether they are actually running away or they are, because you can't see somebody carrying car when you are running for your dear life. So that makes me very suspicious of the danger in which they are, because they are coming. For instance, in that young day, 436 carters are coming from there. Then if the grass gets finished, what happens? They have to start eating the corn.
Some 3 weeks back, these 2 Nigerian communities of farmers and grazers fought, what led to the death of men, animal, and heavy material damage.
These market women in Nanga Mboko have just escaped death after consuming locally made liquor commonly called chai. We go out usually around 9:30 a.m. As a routine, we wanted to take breakfast. We gave our command and asked that it should be accompanied with chai. As we were consuming it, we realized we were losing our force. It wasn't easy for us yesterday. Throughout yesterday, after consuming chai, we could not stand on our feet. We were first taken to a health center, but we were later on transferred to this center because we were not responding to treatment. And after we were evacuated to this hospital, but now we are feeling better. After so many hours in coma spent here in this regional hospital, they are now out of danger and will be heading back home in the next 48 hours. The seller of the chai has since disappeared and authorities are currently searching for him. Some 1 month to the commemoration of the 31st anniversary of the sad occurrence of Lake Nyos gas disaster, the population of Menchum division in the northwest has been hit by floods. At least 5 villages in Furawa, Fungom and Menchum Valley subdivisions have been affected by overflowing waters from the construction of the Kashimbila Dam in neighboring Nigeria. An intersectoral delegation dispatched by the Cameroonian Ministry of Territorial Administration has been on the field. After a meeting in the divisional capital, Wom, some of the divisional officers gave first-hand information. For a field trip to have a better appraisal of the situation, Ifang village in the Menchum Valley was selected. The several tens of kilometers on the muddy, rugged and bushy road was done in vehicles, motorbikes, in canoes and on foot.
About 3 hectares. Water, you don't recover all that, all things were inside, cocoa, granite, cassava, plantain.
There are indications as to how government could help victims. There are fears the high water tide will likely increase, therefore compromising harvest for subsistence and export crops.
It is 11 p.m. and everyone is awake in Nangai Boko in the central region. An unholy hour when the young and the old, particularly the women, are out to sell their goods to people traveling via train. They hustle to get customers and are obliged to run in and out of the train, but at their own risk. Their customers are those traveling to the northern parts of Cameroon. They have a variety of goods to propose, plums, a goosey pudding, to name but these few.
Batang, and then batang.
There are particular goods I cannot buy, but there are some that I can buy because before you reach your destination, some of the goods get bad. These night hawkers say it is only at such unholy hours that they can make bricks business. They equally complain of a lot of risk, quoting several cases of theft and attacks. Worst of it is that most of their customers sometimes don't pay their goods when the train suddenly moves. Welcome back. I'm still accompanied by Francis Arred. He is an educationist and the owner or proprietor of Tezol Institute in Douala, Accra, Cameroon. And now we're talking about world population that was observed this week. We have 7 billion people on the planet. Does that figure ring anything in your mind?
That's huge. That's huge, which means that very soon every single country in the world will be overpopulated. Every single country will be overpopulated, and this is huge. This is huge because we have limited resources, and the more the population grows, the more we need resources. So very soon there'll be a question of where do we get resources.
And now, does it have any impact on the economy?
Sure. Economists will tell you that huge population is an opportunity because it means they can buy. They can buy and they can produce. They can produce and sell. But on the other hand, for a country like Cameroon, being overpopulated can raise health issues.
We have Nigeria, which is overpopulated.
We have,
and they're doing it. They're making it.
They're making it because you have to change your mindset. When you start having a huge population, you change your mindset on how you can feed the population, or how you can take on the population, or how you can create business opportunities for the population. If you do that, then your population size becomes an opportunity. But if you don't do, then it becomes a serious hurdle.
We have another country like China.
Yeah, China is making it big time because Chinese have understood.
They're overpopulated, but they're making it.
They're overpopulated, and then they have a good industry. They produce a lot. They produce almost all the things that they feed on, all the things that they use, and that's how the population size becomes an opportunity. Yes.
Now, why is it a problem to Africa and Cameroon in particular?
It's a problem to Africa and Cameroon in particular because we have not developed the right economic policies to take advantage of population size. Yes.
Now, this year's theme is family planning, empowering people, developing nations. Now,
yes.
How do you analyze this theme?
Family planning, I remember when I was a kid, I was 10 or 15 years old, there used to be these campaigns on TV, and then things just slackened down. Family planning is simply telling people have the number of children that you can handle, no matter the situation. So being a responsible parent is very important. Don't just having kids for the sake of having them, because kids means education, means health care, means going to school, means being clothed. And today, if you cannot provide those basic things to your children, then you are irresponsible. And if you're responsible, it means you're opening the door for your child to become a delinquent, to become a thief. So we need to have the number that we can handle. If you cannot handle, then you better not have.
Now, when you look at society, is that what people do? Do people go for family planning? Do they go for family planning?
Well, it's a pity because in spite
you
of...
still find people with 15 children.
You still find people with 15, 10 children because they keep saying that having children is being wealthy. Now, that was true many years ago. That was true in the days of our grandparents in the 60s or in the 40s. But because they didn't have to go to school back in those days.
They all go to the farm.
They went to the farm, yes. They went to the farm. But today, a child is very expensive. Well, a child is not a commodity, but the child is expensive in the sense that school today is more and more expensive. Healthcare is more and more expensive. Housing is more and more expensive. So, if you don't have what you can handle, then you'll be forced to go and beg. You'll be forced to send your children to your relatives. But that's not what we want. We want a family to be a happy circle with the necessary means to take care of the needs of each child. And taking things from this angle, then it's important to respect family planning. You can have two. You can have four, but don't have 15 if you cannot handle.
So you have the number of children that you can take care of
and give
them proper education. Now, how do you link family planning and empowering people, developing nations?
Good, because if you're able to keep your charges under control, then you're a happy man because you can happily take care. But if your charges outweigh your income, then it becomes a problem. Then you become unable to provide the basics. You can only feed a household if you have the necessary income to do that. But if your household is made up of 20 people and your income enables you just to feed 5 people, then there'll be a huge problem. So for us to be empowered, we need to start aligning our income and then the size of our households.
Now, how do you pull people to go to family planning? Because the center is there, but people don't go there.
People don't go for a number of reasons. In some regions of Cameroon, I mean, all regions of Cameroon, we have this belief that going to family planning is a bad thing. Because they'll tell you to to stop giving birth to children, because they would give you some medication to help you control birth and pregnancies. And people see it as being alienated. People see it as a denial to their birthright. But on the other hand, we should continue raising awareness, going further and further into the countryside, into villages, to raise awareness about the phenomenon, one. And number two, there should be some kind of incentives to encourage people. And then cases of people who made it should be shared. Because today, life is becoming more and more expensive. And so when you see in the village somebody who has 5, 7, 8 children, and the person maybe is 40 and still has a child of 2 or 3 years old, then you wonder. And you know that life expectancy in Cameroon, they say it's 48 years old for men and 50 for women, which means at 40 you're not even sure to raise your kids until they become adults. So it's a real problem. Yes.
And we've also observed that those who have many children, like 10, 15, don't have the means, while those who have the means have just 2, 3 kids.
Paradoxically, today, the poor tend to be more fertile, and the rich tend to be
Which means that the rich wants to have many children, but he can't have the children. Is that what you mean?
No, because they plan. You know, childbearing is about planning. Look at your income, look at your strength, look at your potential, and then you plan to have a given number. But he who doesn't plan tends to have, as they say, as many as God can bless them with.
Now, have you ever visited a Komkam waterfall in the Mongo division? The fall rises up to 8 meters, making it one of the biggest in Africa. And the National Episcopal Conference has released a statement declaring that they have not yet received the corpse of their late colleague Bishop, the Bishop of Bafia. Let's watch this report. We'll be right back.
It is reputed to be one of the largest falls in Africa. This is a Komkam waterfall located 30 kilometers from Kongsamba in the Bare Bakem subdivision, Mongo division, littoral region. In a bid to discover the spectacular site, Littoral Regional Delegation of Tourism organized a trip on Saturday, July 8, 2017, with the objective of showcasing Cameroon's splendor.
We have organized this excursion so as to permit us to visit some touristic sites in the littoral region. We are now in the Mongo division, and we want all the Cameroonians to know these beautiful sites and to visit them every time.
The trip started off at the premises of the Delegation of Tourism in Douala. At exactly 7:30 a.m., more than 30 persons boarded a bus en route for an adventure of a lifetime. In the bus, anxious excursionists listen to a field guide who gives the travelers a taste of what awaits them. The crew made their first stop at Kongsamba, where they paid a courtesy visit to administrative authorities of the division. The team will later visit a local enterprise involved in the manufacturing of cheese with local products from the Mount Maneguba. The next stop was at Villa Luciole, a magical resort site that lodges guests who come to visit the mountain and the Ekomkam waterfall. Then came the big moment, journey to the Ekomkam Fall. The excited and anxious travelers were welcomed by the divisional officer for Bare Bakem, Madame Wanja Germain, who congratulated the delegate of tourism for choosing Ekomkam Fall. Getting to the waterfall wasn't easy.
It hasn't been easy hiking up to this point, but yes, we are right here at the Ekomkam waterfall, just right behind me, and this fall is reputed as one of Cameroon's tourist destination. The fall rises up to about 80 meters and it is located in the Bare Bakem subdivision of the Mongo division littoral region. And yes, it is right at the jungle where scenes of the legendary movie Tarzan were shot.
Excursionists hiked the slopey path to the site, and on seeing the fall, many say the pain was worth it.
I think this trip is good because we see many nice things. We come here, it's beautiful, it's quietful, it's a bit hot. It's way down to go, but when we're there, it's worth it. We think it's very good to be here. It's the surrounding, everything around is good to say, okay, you're here now, just enjoy it.
Africa is beautiful, and we need to talk more about it, because staying in Cameroon for so long, and it's today, I understand that we have such a thing, that you don't need to go to Kenya, you don't need to go to other countries, that we have it here in Cameroon is something very beautiful.
However, the visitors have made some recommendations.
The way to come here, it's not very well indicated. Not everybody can come with any car. We need to be a special car, 4x4 or pickup or whatever. But it's not very easy to come. Maybe it's the only thing that can be a bit improved.
And I would like that the delegates for this tourism department should do more of it. Much Cameroonians need to know about their country before trying to know more about others.
The Ekom waterfall, just like other tourist destinations in the country, continue to attract more foreigners than locals. It is hoped that many more Cameroonians will start patronizing their sites.
This is a state of the road in Expo Quarter in Douala, Cameroon. A nasty and muddy path that leads to the Berger Lay Private College. This private secondary school will not receive subvention for the academic year 2017 to 2019. The school is not the only facing sanctions from the Ministry of Secondary Education. 15 private secondary schools have been blacklisted in Cameroon. 8 in the littoral, 4 in the central region, 2 in the west, and 1 in the east region. The withdrawal of subventions from these lay private secondary schools, according to the Ministry of Secondary Education, is due to poor management of government subvention. This proprietor, La Berger Lay Private College, seems surprised with the decision. He states that his school had provided justifications with regard to the management of the funds. He talked of having bought equipment and claims his documents were deposited at the National Brigade for the Control of Lay Private Secondary Schools in the Ministry of Secondary Education. It should be noted the sanctions comes on the heels of repeated warnings from the Ministry of Secondary Education. The last warning dates June 27, 2017. Welcome back. I'm still accompanied by Francis Areti East, an educationist and the owner of Tessel Institute in Akwa Douala, Cameroon. Now, I want us to talk about the Konkam Waterfall. Have you ever been to the Mongo Division?
Yes, I've visited the division, but not the falls, which I hope to do before this year runs out. I've heard lots of people talking about it. It seems to be a wonderful place. I would definitely like to visit.
Now, have you ever had any urge to visit any touristic site in Cameroon?
Yeah. I travel a lot around my country. I know lots of tourists.
And which of the tourist sites really like
well, I've
been
to the falls.
You had that zeal to come back again?
Yeah, I've been to the falls in Kribi. I've been to Nebuncha. I've been there a couple of times this year. It's a very wonderful place. I've visited all the beaches of our country, including Mwanko, Limbe, Kribi.
Now, when you visit those places, what are the problems?
Access to the places. Those are wonderful sites, but the fact that access is difficult makes it a bit complex for people to visit. So if we could develop the roads, if we could have better facilities on the site, I think there will be more Cameroonians visiting.
Now, the National Episcopal Conference this week released a statement declaring that they have not yet received the corpse of their late colleague, the Bishop of Bafia. Now, what's your reaction to that?
It's very strange. It's very strange because we have the results of the autopsy, and so logically, I mean, logically, the cops should now be in the hands of the church.
Now, according to the communique already signed by the President of His Grace, Samuel Kleder, on July 10, 2017, he sees that the Catholic Church will only collect the cups after thorough check and identification, because they still maintain that the cops was a little bit violent.
Yes, we've had
some violence.
Yeah, we've had contradictory.
There are traces of violence on the cops. That's what they.
We've had contradictory views on the issue. The state says one thing, the church says something else. It's quite complex. It's quite complex.
Because they are maintaining their stand that their colleague was brutally murdered.
Yes.
Or assassinated.
Yes. Well, the autopsy results are out, and if the church maintains the position, I'm sure they have reasons for that.
So they have enough evidence?
Possibly.
Do you think the church has enough evidence?
Well, I cannot confirm.
Continue to press government to bring out the truth.
I cannot confirm that, but if they've maintained the position, they have a reason for it. That's what they really believe. Now, do they have enough evidence? We don't know. Let's wait and see. I'm sure the matter is still going on, and we know the church. The church is very respectful of the law, but if they do continue insisting on something, then maybe we should take it seriously.
Right. Thank you for honoring our invitation.
You're welcome.
And to you out there, we say thank you for watching. Do take another rendezvous same time next week. Goodbye.